I'm Carrington MacDuffie. This is Star Seeds of Freedom, and this is a really special day because I have with me today a really special guy, Dr. Jim Willie. And if you know his work already, then you're excited to hear what he has to say today. And if you're not familiar with him, then there's going to be a lot for you to take in, so pay close attention. There's so much going on in the world. We'll see what he can help us with. Well, his doctorate is in mathematics. He's a statistician, he's a geopolitical analyst, he's a financial advisor, he's so many different things. And so I'm really happy to have him with me today. And before we get into conversation with him, I want to point you to, if you're not already subscribed, to his website, golden-jackass.com. He's the editor on that website. And there's a newsletter on there that I cannot recommend highly enough. If you follow Jim just via these interviews, that's all fine and well, but you can get so much information in that newsletter. I just can't recommend it enough. So golden-jackass.com, check it out. And meanwhile, there's 1,000 things going on because we've got, Israel and Iran going at it. We've got China positioned, mobilized, for their thing with Taiwan. We've got people in Great Britain being arrested for Facebook posts. We've got ports. It's Wednesday, October 2nd. There's just so much. So we're going to see how much. We got Hurricane Helene. We'll see how much Jim can help us get things straightened out. My main question is, Jim, what now? Now what? Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you today. Thank you. Yeah.
I tell you, I'm a little overwhelmed. I used to say that we got news and attacks from 4 or 5 fronts. Well, it's more like 8, more like 7 or 8. The strike in the Northeast could affect 700,000 workers at shore, docks, longshore workers. It's the International Longshoreman. And I've got a theory. I'm just going to throw it out there because I like putting out a postulate now and again that's completely unexpected. I'm thinking that the dock workers, the union, is either objecting to something very onerous or they're told to take a big pay cut, take one for the team. Something is happening that we're not fully informed about regarding these dock workers. Maybe they know that surreptitiously they're bringing in weapons for a civil war for the migrant sleeper cells. I know for a fact from a client that they're bringing in landmines, anti-personnel landmines by hundreds of boxes. Okay? Landmines. Okay? You know what I mean by a landmine?
Yes.
It's like a big plate and it says direct this to the enemy, this side for the enemy. And you step on it and it blows up like 5 people are nearby. Okay. It could be that the longshoremen know something about what's being shipped and they don't want to ship it. It could be that they're told to take a big pay cut and because the company needs to make more money and the company is having a real pinch on their profit margin. I got one client in the Southeast. He's the president of a trucking company. And he pointed out that it's $2.20 for costs and $1.70 for income per mile. They're losing 50 cents per mile. Okay, I have a chapter that I just didn't feel like developing too fully. It's the lockdown consequences. If you want to reduce the supply chain and you want to lay people off for a stupid reason like a 99.7% virus recovery, you're going to have a cascade of problems. We've already seen what's happened to the commercial property market. We've seen what's happened. They had attempts to, drive up the price of eggs by 300%. And fortunately, the little chickens know how to reproduce so that in 6 months they're laying eggs with a new chicken. And that's just a remarkable fact of life in the chicken world. Okay, we're having consequences now that are far reaching, that are trickle down disasters from the lockdown. We don't have adequate supply. We don't have adequate workers. We don't have adequate training. Okay, this is really nasty. I got a story to tell you regarding the hurricane. I like the phrase boots on the ground. This guy is a real boots on the ground guy. He's a Georgia client, and he's going to Atlanta, and he went through, I think it's a little over 100-mile stretch between Savannah and Macon, Georgia. And he called me on a cell phone 2 days ago. And he said, Jim, I don't know if you have time or if you have the opportunity to put this in your newsletter. I said, well, I got about an hour or maybe an hour and a half. What do you got? And he said, I'm on interstate. I think he said I-15. I'm not sure. I'm on an interstate highway. I just passed through Savannah on the way toward Macon. And I'm not making this up. Hear me exactly for what I'm saying. I saw several thousand trees knocked down. I said, several thousand, not one. He said, no, several thousand. It was like 20, 30 miles, and all I saw were downed trees, nothing standing in a forested area. And he said some of it was pine. I don't know if you're aware of it. Pine is a very weak tree. Pine just breaks it if you push hard on it. I mean, I come from Massachusetts, and it's about, I think, 80% pine, but they got a lot of hardwood too. They got a lot of oak. I had a big oak tree in my front yard once in Littleton, Massachusetts. Anyway, he said there were at least a dozen trees on the interstate that had to be pushed off into the berm, onto the shoulder. So they weren't on the interstate highway. And I said, well, if you saw several thousand from the highway, that would mean we got several million deep into the forests.
Yeah.
He said, I think that's a fair statement. All right, we have a disaster, and it brings up a really important point, a great segue, because the fellow who's playing Biden, let's not be stupid here. Let's not call him Biden.
I know.
The
please.
fellow who's playing Biden here.
Yeah.
Was it on 9/11 that he wore a MAGA hat?
Oh God. Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. We're being told what's going on. Are we paying attention? Most are not.
Most are not.
Even most good people are not paying attention. They say, oh gosh, look at that strange guy wearing a MAGA hat. Someone probably told him it was a New York Yankee hat. Okay. No, he's under white hat control.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now we got a 6'6" version after the CrowdStrike event. Okay. 6 inches taller Biden. Is anybody paying attention? Most people are not.
And when you point that out, I've noticed people will argue that you're not seeing it right or something, but it's hard to miss.
They got that straight out of the MSM news.
Yeah, I guess.
But if you compare him to Netanyahu, if you compare him to his own wife,
yeah,
it's obvious that he's 6 inches taller. No, I'm not stupid. No, I'm not seeing it with a misperception. You're seeing it with a propaganda stupidity perception. I'm not seeing it incorrectly. They are. Okay. When they came out with a 6 inch taller version, he no longer spouted the fascist Dem party. I don't call it Democrat. They're not Democratic. Why call something Democratic Party if they're not Democrat? But that's like, I struggle for a decent analogy. That's like calling a mafia group under Al Capone a libertarian group. Okay, yeah. Crime is liberty. I get it. Yeah. Strength is power. Corruption is honesty. War is peace. I get it. 1984. We're witnessing something profound here. And let me continue in this theme. I said in July and late June, I did it with Nino Rodriguez. I said Trump is going to run largely unopposed. And if they come up with a candidate, it's going to be the most extreme, ridiculous Democrat Party, fascist Dem Party, most extreme candidate you can possibly imagine. I said, maybe it'd be the cyborg Newsom. Maybe it'd be Big Mike and his big balls. Maybe it'd be the witch in Michigan.
Right. Wasn't it the witch?
Whitmer. Okay. No, they did one even better, Carrie.
Yeah.
They came out with Tampon Tim, who drank a gallon of horse semen. Can you even make this stuff up? Okay. They came out with the most ridiculous Marxist governor who's not popular even among his own family. He's not popular among his own voters. And he lied through his teeth, and Vance ripped him to shreds in the debate. He caught him on 5 different lies, and Waltz didn't even argue back. I cannot imagine that they would have put out a worse candidate, a more indefensible candidate than they did with Waltz. And, you know, there's an AI, Elon Musk has an AI advertisement by Kamala. And she said, you know, Tim, we wanted you because we couldn't find anybody else. You were the worst possible of our choices, but no one wanted the job. And, you know, welcome aboard. You know, just a lot of really neat stuff with AI, and the voice is all correct.
Right.
I don't even know who this Kamala is. Okay. I don't want to say it ain't her, but I've been from 3 or 4 people, all of whom are respectable guys with good opinions, and a couple of them are from military sources. Kamala's in Gitmo. So who the hell is this? You know, we are being treated to the biggest extravaganza of fascist demo with a bunch of actors. And you know, we're being told again that really soon we could have the emergency broadcast. And it's really not that simple. And this is October 2nd for all you thieves out there who want to repackage this interview. Yep. Like pure a-holes. Mm-hmm. This is October 2nd on Wednesday. You a-holes who want to steal my work.
And mine.
I'll be doing yeah. Right. Your work is my work here.
Yeah.
Okay, there's another one. The fellow who's playing Biden at 6'6" now is saying we have nothing extra for funds for the hurricane victims.
Right.
And the unspoken rejoinder to that is we spent all our money in Ukraine. Now, for those who don't know what's going on in the United States, and that is, I believe, over half the people, the officers and the cabinet officers and the agency officers, agency directors, a lot of them for the Biden show don't have offices in the United States. Okay, Criswell was found in Warsaw, Poland.
Warsaw.
Blinken has an office, and so does Lloyd Austin in Kiev.
Of course.
Okay, these people are destroying our country, and that they're not even in our country.
No.
And they're controlling various aspects. I believe, Carrie, I honestly believe that over half the Biden show officials are no longer working. It's just an absent regime. It doesn't even qualify as a regime. It's a show.
It's a show. And we've all been wondering who's actually running, who's the president. We don't have a president. So, you know,
we don't have a vice president either.
No.
And Kamala has been shot down. She had another couple of interviews, and they were disasters. Mm-hmm. And in response to the interview, she said she's not going to do any more interviews right now because she's so busy.
Yes, I heard that.
She's so busy licking her wounds. She's so busy making $150 payments for people to attend her campaign stops.
Yeah.
Many of them are homeless.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really a farce we're watching. Now, there's another thing. This is not a piece of evidence, but it's like a perspective of mine. I read Kamala is in really big trouble with the man vote. Well, yeah, they see her as phony. They see her as a hoe. They see her as an opportunist who did sexual favors to get ahead in her political career. Okay, Kamala Harris is in trouble with the black vote. Yeah, they're calling her a sham. Okay, I'm now up to about 8 different black video show hosts that I've watched, about 8, and it's 8-0. They hate her. They hate her. And they go out in the public. Some of them did. Most of them did, of the 8. And I would say 80-90% of the people that hated Kamala. They don't like her. They call her a phony. A colleague of mine said, "Jim, check this out. It's a video of a girl, 12 years old." And they ran a clip of Kamala, and the newscaster said, "What image comes up to you, little girl?" Liar. Okay, even little kids. Okay, she's seen as an opportunist, a liar. She's not black. They're saying that she's pandering the black vote. And, here's a response. This is a very real political response. The blacks are forming a conservative wing in the Republican Party. And it's Candace Owens.
Yeah.
I think she's a former congresswoman. Now she's not sure that. I think she's a former newscaster. Not sure. But she's remarkably coherent.
Yeah.
And a really good articulate speaker.
Yeah.
And she just makes a lot of sense. She has command of a lot of facts and figures. Candace Owens. She might turn out to have a position in the Trump administration. There's a preacher from Atlanta who spoke at the Republican convention and mentioned God. Oh, gosh, you can't mention God among the fascist Dems because why? Because they're Satanists, you idiots.
Yes, okay. Exactly.
Unbelievable what's going on.
Yeah.
They're driving Christianity out. There was an incident in the Olympics. I think it was a woman, and I'm not sure, but I think she was an X Games skateboarder. I'm not sure. And she let it be known that she was going to praise Christ for her gift and talent. And she was told, if you mention God or Christ, we'll take away your gold medal. Okay, we're witnessing Satanism on a massive scale. I had a friend over a few days ago, and I said, honey, you need to understand this. The newscasters are Satanists. The Democrats are Satanists. The oil companies are Satanists. The military sector for weapons fabrication, they're Satanists. The social networks are run by Satanists. The search engines are often run by Satanists. And she said, what's not run by Satanists? And I said, not a whole lot if it's organized corporation at a high level.
Yeah. It's people like us.
What they've done with these fascist Dems is they've spawned like a grassroots, I hate the word revolution, but a grassroots, very powerful movement on numerous fronts.
Yes, as an upsurge. If it's not a revolution, it's certainly a raising of awareness and a self-empowerment and more expression, like Candace Owens being an example of someone who she just says exactly what she thinks and speaks right out. Not only is she articulate, but she's very frank. And
I tell you, I've seen 3 or 4 with her, and I can't turn it off. Go, wow.
And we got so used to being, stroked by these lawyers who become politicians who tell people what they want to hear or
what we should think.
What we should think, for sure.
And here's what I say what we should think.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another black guy, Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina.
Who's that?
I think his name is, I think Thompson. Anyway, I can't remember his name. If you could check it, Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina.
Okay.
Black guy, and he's a Republican, and he's making the case for blacks to be Republican. Okay, Kamala is going to destroy the Democrat Party, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I really like how she's doing the destruction.
Yeah.
The destruction is nearly total. There isn't a single policy that the fascist Dems have had without having it challenged and wrecked and declared a destruction. What they've been trying to do in the last few weeks is present Harris as a moderate, and all the failures in the country are Trump's fault. And they're getting slammed for it.
Yeah, he's really pretty moderate, actually, and she's a complete nutso Marxist. Not
Marxist. Okay, and Candace Owens has done something else. She's taken it upon herself to do digging into the lies for the Kamala Harris book. I didn't know she had a book. Is this true? Kamala Harris had a book?
Right, I've heard that. I don't know anything about it.
I don't know. Well, Candace Owens is pointing out all the lies in her book and pointing out all the lies in her campaign speeches. I'd love to see Candace Owens do an interview of Kamala Harris, but Kamala would never agree to that.
Never, no.
I want Kamala to admit that she used fellatio in San Francisco to get ahead. To get ahead in politics.
To get what?
Okay, Willie Brown. How many times did she
really
go down
know.
on you?
Yeah, I don't really want to know.
Is that how she got the position of Attorney General? And for those who don't know her record as Attorney General, okay, just a couple of items. There was a big group of black guys who got convicted for marijuana sales, and they got, exonerated. I was going to say unconvicted. They got exonerated and cleared. And Kamala Harris left them in jail for 2 months. Okay, after they were cleared in court. Yeah. And another case is Planned Parenthood got charged with selling fetuses in the black market. And Kamala Harris dropped the charges.
Yes, I heard that.
Okay, this is the Kamala Harris that we need to understand. Okay, I like to be fair. I like to be objective. I like to speculate. And I like to check up on my speculation. And when it doesn't make sense later on, I say, well, that doesn't make too much sense anymore. I'm worried about Trump. There are a lot of things I like, a lot. And I do wonder why the fellow we see is 5'8" when Trump is 6'3".
Yeah, we're not seeing.
I do wonder about that a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's not go there.
Okay.
Because we got to keep the original safe, but let's not go there. I like how he wants to restore the republic. I like how he had been the commander in chief making decisions regarding the military. I believe he did call the Insurrection Act. He did. But the military refused to follow through. So we didn't get much news about invoking the Insurrection Act. If you can't enforce the Insurrection Act, you don't admit that you invoked the Insurrection Act. Instead, what they did was they called for loyalty tests and polygraph tests of several hundred generals, and this is a very big task. Okay, I had a good client, smart client, say to me, Jim, why didn't they just clean up the military? And I said, because the generals have 1,000 men under their command, because they have an arsenal of weapons.
Yeah.
Because if they're caught and convicted, they'll be hanged. Does this make any sense? You don't just say, hey, look, you 18 generals, we want you to come over here because we want to put you in a prison cell and then hang you.
Right.
Come over here.
But
okay,
now,
we got a lot of naive, good people in our camp.
Well, and so it's good to answer those really questions that seem really obvious. It's good to answer them. That's a really good answer to that question for anyone who's listening who doesn't understand that. There you go. I think, but don't the so-called white hats control Space Force? That's my understanding, that part of the military.
They've got a lot of communications. Okay, if someone has a communication that's on a cell phone, it's not that easy to identify the location. It's not that easy. You're in the network. And if it's a short call, remember on the many, many, many shows, if it's under 2 minutes, you can't trace it. Okay,
Right.
these people are not stupid. Here's another one. Why didn't they just arrest that Criswell from FEMA? She's causing a lot of trouble. And I said to my client, where is she? Let's go get her. Where is she?
Yeah.
Do you know? Well, she was in Warsaw, Poland. Okay, she's not in Bethesda, Maryland, working at home.
No, and
Not
yeah.
how this Biden show works. I do firmly believe half the Biden show is missing.
You know, I was given a hard time one time by a podcaster in Great Britain who's no longer with us, but why, since we're armed, and here I am in Texas, since we're armed, why don't we march on Washington? And I was like, I don't even know if they're there. Like,
Nobody's there.
they're
Wake
not there.
up. Where
Who are
are
they?
they?
Yeah, they're in
Okay,
Israel. They're
just
in
a
Tel
simple
Aviv. I
test.
don't know.
Give them a list. Lloyd Austin, first of all, is Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, is that the original? If so, where is he?
Yeah.
Blinken, first of all, is that the real original Blinken? If so, where is he?
Yeah, that's always the first question. Is that them? And if it's not them, who's running them?
I have on pretty good authority, Carrie, and this is really hard for a lot of good people to swallow. There are a number of Biden show officials and players, like Undersecretary of State behind Blinken, run by the White Hats.
Hmm.
Secretary of Defense, do we know who he is? Lloyd Austin, do we know where he is? The Russians did a DNA test and they found fragments of his body in Kiev in a bunker. Okay.
Right.
Do we believe the Russians?
That's right.
I believe Russians 10 times more than the mainstream news.
No,
You know how I
me
prove
too.
something now? You know how I prove something, Carrie? This is really funny. Did fact checks in the United States call it negative? If they call it negative, it's probably true. But 95% accurate. If they call it untrue, then it's true.
Yeah.
Now, when I started this newsletter in 2004, I'm in my 21st year. This is crazy, crazy. When I started the newsletter, Donna was my website manager. She was a website manager for about 17 years. And she said to me, Jim, are you aware of Snopes? And I said, no, what's Snopes? She said, it's a fact checker. And it was an effective fact checker. And then in about 2008, following Lehman, she said, Jim, I got bad news. Snopes just got bought by the intelligence agencies. Mm. And I said, oh my gosh, what's left? And she said, they actually bought about 3 different fact checking companies. So there's essentially no more fact checking. And then about a year later, I said, Don, I got an idea. If it's denied by fact checking, can we assume like with over 90% assurance, that's a verification? She said, Jimmy, that's really funny. I like the way you think.
Well, it seems to be that way. Same as we're more likely to believe what we hear from Russia at this point.
When we got all the different facts regarding Ukraine 2 years ago, almost all of them were false.
Yeah.
So I did fact checking by looking for their negation, their denial. They call it, oh, that's debunked. We've debunked that.
Yeah.
In other words, you confirm that. When do they ever confirm something unless it's embarrassing to Trump or the Republicans?
Yeah.
They're trying to remove Trump. They're trying to deny his major points, remove his logic. They're trying to take God out of the equation. And I got news for people. God is in this election.
Yeah.
God is at work.
You're not going to be able to take God out of anything because everything is God. So it doesn't even make any sense.
Well, yeah, but this is a Satanist manifestation in our government.
Clearly. And the whole world.
And I know a guy, I don't want to mention names, but he refused to become a Navy captain. He was in line for Navy captain, but he got turned down because he did not want to attend a certain meeting. Mm. And he knew what the meeting was all about. It was a baby sacrifice to Satan. Okay, that's Navy captain. Okay, it's all through our military. NATO is not only Air Force, but there's Army. I don't think there's any Navy NATO.
Oh,
Um,
I think there
is there?
is. Yeah, yeah, because I know a guy who was in the Navy who said he said that all NATO did was they'd run their ships all the way up to the North Atlantic where they'd get all beat up by the weather and then they'd come back to port and get them fixed. And that's all they ever did.
Oh, come to think of it, yeah, silly me. When I was 5 years old, I went to a NATO kindergarten in Naples, Italy. NATO. Okay, and that was a Navy center.
Uh-huh.
We had a couple. My dad made a couple friends in the Navy, and we got to shop at the PX. I don't know if you're
Cool.
aware of what that is.
Sure, of course.
Um, okay, and my mother was thrilled. She said, "Bob, we can finally buy cheap food.
Right,
We don't have to buy all this Italian stuff."
right.
I think Italian food is some of the best in the world.
Yeah, yummy.
When I have an Italian dinner, wow. Uh, There's an Italian restaurant here, and I've been to it now 3 times. I took a client to it twice, and the client took me to it once. And I had um, berenjena parmigiana, eggplant parmesan. And I tell you, it just melted in your mouth. I wanted to have another, but I ran out of time because I was talking so damn much. Um, okay, I'm sure NATO is in the Baltics because that's a lot of, ocean front, Baltic Sea, Bering Sea. All right, I said something silly. But NATO is really the Narcotics Atlantic Trading Organization. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds
Narcotics
about
Atlantic
right.
Trading Organization. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
that right.
okay.
And the CIA is the cocaine importing agency.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes, got that right
You
too.
got that right
Um,
too. Hmm.
Now I have in the newsletter that was just posted for September, it was not a chapter, it was just a page and a half of how did we get here? Because I've had some clients kind of throw their hands up, but Jim, I don't understand it. How do we get to this point? How do we have Satanists running the country? How do we have communism being installed in our country? How are we having a destruction of say, fuel, refineries, port facilities, bridges? How are we having this destruction? And I said, the best answer I have is 2 parts. Narcotics presidents in sequence and narcotics businesses protected by the U.S. government. Where have we had any prosecution of Langley for narcotics?
Yeah, never. No one
Even in
even brings
Afghanistan.
Yeah, no one even brings it up.
Oh, it's taboo.
Yeah.
And I've been on the whole group of analysts. Why don't you ever talk about the trillion per year elephant in the room of narcotics money laundering keeping the Western banks afloat? And they say, well, there's nothing verifiable. Well, are you saying there's no narcotics in the world? Are you saying there's no underworld for narcotics? Are you saying there's no banking participation for narcotics? Are you saying it's not significant in size to matter? The answer to all these is yes, 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 yes. And I've got a forecast, nice segue. We're going to see silver break 35 real soon.
Okay,
I don't know how soon. Could
yeah.
be days, could be a couple of weeks. I know you would like it. I would like it too.
Yep. A lot of
And
our listeners would like it.
it's going to happen only when we see Bank of America rumored or announced as entering a failure.
Okay, elucidate if you would.
They're 1 billion ounces short on silver.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think's preventing silver from going up much above 30,
For
31,
sure.
32?
For
Who?
sure.
Who?
So what makes that absolutely BofA, but what makes that imminent? What's happening now that because we've been kind of
Gold is
knowing and
pushing
waiting.
up silver.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a lot of gold arbitrage with respect to silver, and this became almost like a published news item in early August, and that's 2 months away now. 2 months back.
Yeah.
The Japanese crisis, the uncarried trade, they lied about that, It's not 1.5 trillion, it's 15 trillion. They blamed it on Japan for bad management. No, it's a Wall Street phenomenon. We shoved it down their throat. And what I learned was there's a big arbitrage trade of buy gold for the crisis, financial crisis, credit crisis, but sell silver in the same trade. Okay? Buy gold, sell silver.
Yeah.
And you sell silver, they sold silver because of the economic decline factor. So the crisis will benefit gold financially, and the demand for silver will go down, but it didn't go down. India did not go down. India continued with big time, heavy duty August demand for silver. Big, big demand. Okay. In other words, they laughed at the West and said, you want to give us a discount? We'll take it. We'll continue with our solar farms. Thank you very much.
Yes.
You
all the
idiots.
Tech.
Okay.
And,
now, when I say arbitrage, never leave out the concept of leverage. It's buy gold, sell silver, 10 times leverage or more, and let it run. And that's why gold went up over 2,500, over 2,600, and silver had a hard time getting over 30. Now it's finally over 30. Yeah. And when you're not looking, they knock it down 80 cents.
Yes.
Who's they? Bank of America.
Yeah.
And they're friends. They've got friends. I'm sure Citigroup and Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan are doing the same thing. But I think the main agent for shorting silver, they're not doubling down. They're quadrupling down. They're doubling down, then doubling down again on silver. Okay, now, if silver goes up, and it will go up because the arbitrage trade is unwinding, they're going to go out of their gold and into silver. They're going to sell what they bought in the arbitrage, and they're going to buy what they shorted in silver. And they're not the entire market. You got a lot of other people who are saying, I'm going to take like 5% of my profit on gold. I'm going to buy silver if those idiots are going to give me a discount. And then you got the other people who say, I'm watching the unwind of the petrodollar trade. Yeah. And the petrodollar derivatives dictate a 30-to-1 gold silver ratio. And we're stuck at 83. Okay. We're going to get down. We have to get down to 50-to-1. And what's going to be 50-to-1? What'll that be? Like $60 silver, 3,000 gold? Okay, this is where we're heading.
Yeah.
We're going to have some dynamic moves in silver and really soon.
So how?
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask you. So we've known for a while Bank of America is doing this and hanging on and hanging on and doubling down and quadrupling down. How much does the timing of this have to do with everything else that's going on? Because there are a lot of other pressures on the banking cartel that we call the Federal Reserve. You know, what's going on with the petrodollar?
Most of the pressure is with gold with respect to the dollar, and silver is the tail on the golden lion.
Good way to put it.
Silver is so small.
Yeah.
There's more volume in Apple trading in a morning session. I mean, like from 9:30 to 12, Apple volume than there is in 1 year for silver.
Amazing. And there's so much new tech. I mean, there's a new battery, I think, that requires a ton of silver. That's coming forward.
Yes.
There's a lot. It's not just solar farms.
And fuel cells. Fuel cell. Where you... Okay, this is really, I don't want to go on long for this because I'm not a real expert, but I do know a little bit. Toyota has developed a hydrogen engine that's essentially a fuel cell, and its exhaust is water vapor. Okay, hydrogen plus oxygen makes water vapor and makes a lot of energy. You know, you do anything with hydrogen, you get a lot of energy. I almost blew my stinking head off when I was 15 years old. I made a hydrogen bomb with lye.
Wow.
Okay, I put lye in a Coke bottle, put aluminum foil as a catalyst, put water in. It out bubbles the hydrogen, put a balloon on, cap the balloon, tie it, and put a cigarette. Okay, the key. Put a cigarette on the balloon. And if you make a mistake, Your head gets blown off. But
Awesome.
I did it well.
Hmm.
And I got to say that we rode our bikes like bandits after we lit that cigarette. We rode our bikes and we were half a mile away, and it was the loudest boom I'd ever heard in my
Wow.
life. And we went back the next day and found 21 windows blown out at the school.
Oh, shit.
We put it in a little little area where they had a bunch of trees. The
Uh-huh.
tree had half of its limbs removed,
Oh,
and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 21 windows were blown out.
wow. Yeah,
Okay,
hydrogen
that's
is where
hydrogen.
it's at.
Okay,
Yes, and that's
back
where
to
that tech is
Toyota.
going next with cars.
Back
That's where it's going.
okay,
All right.
back to Toyota.
Okay.
Toyota developed a hydrogen supply for their engine, and they realized, well, we got 0 to 60, and it's like 35 seconds. Come on. Okay, that's the test. You got an engine. Well, great. Can you go 0 to 60 and this morning? Okay. Does it take 20 minutes to get to 60 miles an hour? Okay. Okay. So what they did, and I've been saying this now to my buddies, the scientific buddies, for like 2 or 3 years. They need to solve the storage of hydrogen. You can't put it in a tank, because if you have a car crash, you don't blow up the car. You blow up the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
Hydrogen is very, very powerful. There was a show, Triple X, and Ice-T was, I like Ice-T. I think he's really cool. Not a great actor, but he's really cool. He has a great presence. And it was Samuel Jackson, and it was Scott Speedman, and a couple other guys. Well, they blew up Gibbons' home, and that was Samuel Jackson. They blew up his home with a gas leak. You have a gas leak? It's hydrogen. It blew up both houses next door. Okay, you don't just have a little explosion with hydrogen. You blow up the whole neighborhood. All right, what did Toyota do? They realized we need a clever supply of hydrogen. So they used ammonia, NH3, nitrogen and 3 hydrogens, and a liquid, and it's not explosive. So they got their supply of hydrogen, and they got a very slow engine. So they did some water vapor supercharge, and they got it to work with the turbocharge and the water injection. They got it to work. They got to have decent acceleration. So is the United States in the front line of hydrogen car development? Hell no. It's again the foreign competitors, because that's where the industry is. That's where the R&D is. That's where the profitability is. Thanks to David Rockefeller and his outsourcing concept of the 1980s and 1990s to destroy the United States. Papa Bush, David Rockefeller, Obama, and J.P. Morgan, the 4 major destroyers of the United States.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And we have to rebuild it. All right, so you're going to see the Japanese again take control of the automobile sector with the new technology. It'll be hydrogen cars, and there'll be a lot of silver in that system, and I don't fully understand it. It's not a battery system. It's a combustion system. There's no battery in a standard gasoline car. It's a combustion system.
Right.
You're burning gasoline.
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to burn hydrogen that they derive from nitrogen.
So it'll still be internal combustion.
It'll still be internal combustion. But there's a lot of silver in the engine.
Right. Cool.
I believe silver is somehow the catalyst.
Huh.
I don't have it all down. I haven't spent a lot of time. I spent an hour reading about it and go, wow, the Japanese again. And for those who are curious, why are the Japanese so good at industry? It's because they brought in a guy named Richard Deming in 1980. And he was a statistician with quality control. And Deming got rejected in various companies in the United States, in particular General Motors. Americans are not very good at industry. I'm telling you, my field of statistics, quality control, forecasting, marketing research, not very highly valued. And that's one reason I started the newsletter. I got laid off from a firm that could not get contracts to do marketing research adequately to keep me busy. And I'm not a marketing guy.
Yeah,
I'm a
right.
guru. I have all kinds of different methods. I told my boss, well, I know how to do this, 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 and this. Sorry, Jim, we don't have anything for you. They ended up laying me off. They hired two younger kids at half the salary each,
Right.
and they did less sophisticated projects that they had bunches of.
Yeah.
I tell you, I had one opportunity. It was with Arthur D. Little out of Lexington, Mass. Arthur D. Little. I had one opportunity. They weren't ready to give me a job, but I had a really nice, long interview with the guy. He said, Jim, you're qualified. I just don't think we got a good match here. I said, no, I'm not up for 60-hour weeks and no personal life.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm about.
Yeah.
I like sports. I like to have friends. I like to go to Boston Red Sox games. Sorry, and he said, well, we're looking for someone to do travel. And yeah, you're right. 50, 60-hour weeks at times. I said, well, okay, so let's not worry about this job and let's just talk. Do you mind? He said, no, that's okay. We ended up just talking shop. What do you guys do? What kind of methods you use? What kind of people do you hire? What schools you like? How do you interview? And I learned a lot. Then I went to Staples. My job in about, I think it was 4 months later, was in Staples, the headquarters of Staples in Framingham, Massachusetts, outside Boston. And I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed going to work. I enjoyed getting up. You know the feeling. You get up and, I got to drag my ass out of bed and go to work. No. I bounced out of bed and said, I'm going to work. I'm going to work.
Nice.
I took my yogurt, took my apple, banana, and I went to work. And they were all young Turks. They were all 25 to 35. And two or three of them, they were gorgeous. Wow. Especially Amy. And I don't think she's listening because I don't really care.
Yeah, probably.
But I wrote Amy poems. Back then, you didn't have to attach a phone number to your email. You could just open up an email. I opened up a Hotmail account. I opened up what was the other one? Hotmail and Yahoo account.
Mm-hmm.
A Yahoo and a Hotmail. And I used to write poems to women.
That's sweet, Jim. That's sweet. I don't know if you've sent one to me yet, but if you had, I wouldn't share it anyway.
No, I do other
Personal.
things with you. I talk.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
By the way, Mark Robinson, is that the lieutenant governor of
Yes,
North Carolina?
yes. I knew it was a standard waspy kind of name.
Yeah, kind of Thompson Robinson.
Yep. The guy is now being castigated in the press. He's the black Republican lieutenant governor in North Carolina. He's being castigated for some comments that he made, and they're trying to make him out to be some kind of a lunatic, racist, or whatever. And it's just a typical MSM smear campaign to take something that he did not say
Yeah.
or did not mean and make it seem like he's a nasty guy. They're trying to smear black Republicans.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. It's
No.
blowing up in their faces.
Yeah.
It is blowing up in their faces.
And same in Texas, where the Latino vote is really moving also into the conservative realm, because who supports them? Well, it's certainly not what the Democrats have
not the border
become.
controllers.
Not the border, and right, and all the people who worked so hard to get here and live here and raise a family here, and then all these other people just come in and get
The riffraff comes in without any vetting, without any jobs, and they're given lots of debit cards and cell phones.
Yeah.
And the ones who worked their way into the country and got legitimate positions and rooting into our society,
exactly,
they're angry. They're
really angry. Yeah, I have a friend who's a Ritrian truck driver who took him 7 years to get here and get this truck driving job out of Dallas, and work his tail off, and it took and he went through so much
Eritrea.
Yes. You know how they go down
It's an
through South
African country.
Sudan? Yeah,
South of
right.
Sudan. Okay.
They go down, well, they go down through South Sudan and they get over to South America, come up through South America, Central America, and come up in through Texas. Um, and it takes a long time and a lot of work and it's dangerous. And, this is just one guy who, among many who did that and waited at the border and made it in and works his tail off. Anyway, um, so the racist card that they, like everyone's a racist now. It doesn't matter what you say or do, you're a racist.
Well,
It's,
I, I, I notice things in professional sports. Um, I'm noticing something in NFL football and college football. Um, when I see a white wide receiver who makes a catch or a touchdown, I go, wow,
Mhm.
a white wide receiver of talent. How rare. But I am a fair sportsman. And I look at the black athletes and I say, that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Game after game after game. We have 70% of the NFL starters that are black now. Am I a racist? No.
No,
I think
whatever.
they're
They're
phenomenal.
phenomenal. It
They're
doesn't matter. But they just do that to get us distracted and hung up on that and to try to sow
well, I
confusion
know,
and
but I notice.
conflict and, you know,
My point is that I notice. I notice that most most of the white players are offensive linemen.
uh-huh.
They have a nickname. They call them the Big Uglies. They're 280 pounds, and
Uh-huh.
you wouldn't want your daughter going out with them. It's like a tremendous wave in the last 30 years in professional basketball and football. Blacks dominate. And, I would love to meet like a high-ranking top 10 college coach and just ask him, do you bother with the white high schools? I made a black friend here in 2008. He was an American from Little Rock, Arkansas. I've lost touch with him, and he was a really good guy. And he paid me a compliment because one time we were at a sports bar. He said, "Hey, Jimmy, I want you to meet my friends." And there were three black guys. One was a Chicago cop. One was a Hollywood, I think a Hollywood uh, music agent, and I don't remember what the other guy was. We talked and we had a good old time. We had dinner, and I let him stay at my house because he had nowhere to go. He had to get up early in the morning, and he said to me, Jim, I got to tell you something. You're about the most fair-minded white guy I've ever met. And I said, well, thanks. Does that mean that I don't notice that you're black? And he said, no, I didn't say that. I said, because I did notice you're black. Last night I noticed we were talking. It was about half an hour into the conversation, and I noticed you're black. And he's just laughing away. My website manager for the first 17 years was a black woman.
Yeah, whatever. What works. It's just whatever works.
I didn't have a single black friend until I was on the soccer team in my senior year of high school.
I'm just saying they really push that. They want us to be very upset and think that we're at each other's throats all the time because of the color of each other's skin.
Well, they want racial discord. They want
Exactly.
discord
So,
wherever.
yeah, I'm not buying it.
I say don't give them the discord. Let's just move
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
But we need to get these guys out of office. We need to get them out of Washington. In
Yes.
fact, I'm hearing that Washington is pretty much shut down. Um, it's a good question. Where is the U.S. government operating?
I don't know. Well, we know the fake thing in Georgia, the fake White House in
That's
Georgia.
not what I refer. I mean the real function. Well, here's some background information. There are
Okay.
about 20 different Social Security service centers in the country.
hmm
They're not in DC.
No.
Every time I talk to somebody like that, I say, where's your office? We're in Texas, outside Houston. Where's your office? We're just north of Los Angeles. Where's your office? We're outside Atlanta.
hmm
Okay, they're all over the country. But
hmm
where is the central headquarters of the U.S. government? I am hearing that it's in a place called Temple, Texas, and I can't seem to verify that.
Mm,
I'm also
Simple.
hearing Reno, Nevada
Hmm.
for Treasury Department functions.
Okay.
We're about to see a massive reduction in the U.S. government, and it's
I
going to
hope
cause a
so.
lot of problems. Well, yeah, except you got millions of people who are employed. What are they going to do?
I don't know, maybe something worthwhile.
Who's hiring? Okay, this is not going to be an easy transition. It's easy to cut jobs. It's not easy to create them. Unbelievable. And what I don't want to see is new jobs created that end up being bureaucratic and same old problem that we
Yeah.
started with. Okay,
Yeah.
Trump has got his work cut out, and he makes it sound easy. He said just a few days ago, yeah, we're in Alabama now, and we just got back from Wisconsin where the migrants are causing a lot of trouble, and we're going to fix that. We got a solution. What's your solution, Trump? You got 20 million migrants, and maybe a tenth of them have families now. With a baby, you're not going to be able to get rid of them that easy. If there's a baby, you're not going to be able to deport. If they got a marriage and you got a job, I mean, a real job, not going to be that easy to deport unless you got a criminal record here or where they came from. Oh my God, this is not going to be easy. Trump, you say you got a solution. This is not going to be easy. I'm telling you, I get very worked up about this because I'm tired of good people who are on our team who don't think well. They don't think well. How are you
And
going to deport them? On what grounds?
yeah, well, I think it's going to have to be on criminal grounds of criminal records. That's where it
Criminal record in the
starts.
past
Yeah.
that was not revealed during the vetting process. Okay, they're gone. What if that criminal record did not extend into Texas or Oklahoma or Georgia or California? They have no criminal activity in the United States, and they married a woman and they got a baby.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about. It's not going to be that easy. If there's a baby in the picture, it's not going to be that easy because the baby is an American citizen, U.S. born. Not that easy. I'm telling you, I think what they're going to end up doing is saying, you're part of a network that's taking orders from the United Nations. You got a cell phone, you're part of a sleeper cell, and that is your culpability. You're part of a sleeper cell. You are conspiring.
Well, I think that's what he's talking about. I think that's what Trump's talking about. But I also don't, I
Could be.
wouldn't say, I'm not saying the guy has the perfect plan. I don't know what's in store there, but I also think there's a lot of stuff that you're not going to, they're not going to come out and tell you what their plan is.
They should. One of the biggest problems with the White Alliance is they're not telling us what they're doing. They could give us vague terms of what they're doing. They,
So
they
how,
keep saying these are military operations. We can't give away our
yeah,
plans to the enemy. We can't subvert our own activity and put our guys at risk of being
exactly.
killed.
How much of
I
that,
understand that,
yeah,
but why don't they tell us what they did last year?
I would assume
I,
either for the same reasons,
I know.
right?
They say for the same reason it's a continuing operation. I know. But there are too many good people in the White Alliance camp who are giving up
You think
because they
so?
haven't been. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. My military guy in Florida says precisely that. They're
Hmm.
giving up because they don't see the progress. They're not
Hmm.
told of the progress. They
Hmm.
don't know what the activity is.
Hmm.
And it looks like we're really losing badly on every front. But we're not.
What do you think?
I think we got a very big sting coming. Very big sting. Sting. Where a lot of people are going to be just removed. And, we're starting to see evidence. This is not a major development and like a big revelation, like, oh my gosh, we've seen a complete conversion of MSM News, but Fox News is no enemy of Trump.
Yeah, for sure.
CNN is now embarrassing Kamala.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
MSN News, MSN, like the Microsoft MSN, they never should have been given their own channel. MSN, that's unfixable. Um, we're going to see a lot of different people be taken away or just go missing. There's going to be a lot of publicity about fake people. There are 3 versions of Zuckerberg. What the hell's going on?
I don't know.
I mean, come on. We're not stupid, but honestly, too many of us are.
Or don't just, I think it's more that people don't expect to be duped in that way, and they can't picture that anyone would do that to them. And it's naive.
That's what my sister says.
I
Why would
think
anybody do that? And
exactly.
I said, to capture the nation.
Yeah,
capture the nation. To capture the nation.
Right, but they don't see.
My father was a very big Mark Twain fan. Okay, I was named after Henry James. Okay, not St. James. Henry James, the author. My dad liked Melville, Hawthorne, Henry James, and a couple others. And after about 15 or 20 years, he wanted something new and fresh, so he got into the humorous Mark Twain. Now, that's not literary scholarship. Sorry.
It's brilliant, though.
It's brilliant. It's heady. It's fun.
Wisdom. It's wisdom.
It's like folklore wisdom. And Mark Twain, you know what Mark Twain means?
But it's very sophisticated.
I know, but you know what Mark Twain, the name means? Mark Twain.
Yes.
Okay. 20 fathoms. Okay, Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
20 means 20. Mark it at 20 fathoms.
That's Mississippi River.
I threw in my father's face because I got tired. He said, Jim, you're critical of the United States. Is that the only thing you do in your newsletter? I said, no, Dad, I point out the fallacy of money, the fraud in the U.S. banks, and the trends toward other solutions that are gold-backed. He said, but you're trashing the United States. I said, Dad, are you aware of the narco coup d'etat that began in 1988 with Papa Bush? He said, no. I said, then you will continue to think I'm trashing the United States because you're not aware of the narcotics presidencies that extended with Clinton and baby Bush and Obama. These are narcotics presidents.
So it's not that people are dumb. It's just they can't fathom how bad other people are, or they're brainwashed.
They can't imagine it.
No, they can't imagine it. And
why would they have a fake Biden?
Right.
To capture the country.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand how they capture the country because you're not paying attention to the different factors. Okay, I said that I threw something in my dad's face regarding Mark Twain. Mark Twain has a very famous quote. It's harder to convince a person that they've been fooled than it is to fool them.
Yeah.
And I said to Dad, you've been fooled and you don't know it. Mark Twain is talking about you.
Yeah.
He said, Jim, I resent that. I said, Dad, you come from World War II. Trust your officers. Trust Eisenhower. Do you even know what Eisenhower warned about on his way out the door? The military complex. We've been at war, Dad, for about 25 straight years. I loved my dad. I really did. I miss him very dearly.
Of course.
He died at age 101. And he had a very big role in funding my newsletter. It's kind of funny. My dad was the venture capitalist. My dad said to me after about 8 or 9 months, Jim, what is your debt? 9 months into the newsletter in late 2004. Jim, what's your debt? It was winter. I think it might have been January or February of 2005. He had me over for dinner with my mother. I was a frequent guest because I was, a single guy living in the suburbs. And hey, Jim, why don't you come over for dinner? What about Monday night? I said, okay. And he said, what's your debt? And I said, Dad, that's rather personal. He said, Jim, don't be silly. You have a newsletter and you're working up to like 300 clients. What's your debt? And I said, 28,000. And he said, bring me your credit card statements tomorrow and we'll get rid of it. My dad was my venture capitalist after the fact.
He loved you, of course.
Okay, a very funny story. I was in the vestibule. I gave my dad a hug. I had all the envelopes that I brought the. I brought them with stamps, Gary. There were about 7 of them. They totaled 28,000. I gave my dad a hug. And my mother winked at me like, there you go, Jim. Like, I was a part of this, Jimmy. I was a part of this. I know, Mom. I know. My dad whispered in my ear, tomorrow night, bring the rest. And there was 3,500 more. 31,500. My dad was a seed capitalist, but he never really understood what the newsletter was about. And finally, a friend of mine from high school visited my dad way back in 2000 and, I think it was 18 or 19 or maybe 17. And he said, Bob, I got Jimmy on an internet interview for you. Bob, come on in here. And my dad is Robert. My dad walked in and my buddy said to me, his name was Jimmy. We're 2 Jims. We had 7 Jims in my 8th grade. We had 7 of us. 7. And we had a little gym party once in a while. At lunch, all the Jim. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Nice to meet you, Jim. Hey, Jim. Hey, nice to meet you, Jim. What's your name? Oh, you're Jim. And in college, we had a Bruce party. We had 7 Bruces. But Jimmy told me, your dad watched the whole 45 minutes. And I asked my dad later, did you understand much of it, Dad? And he said, not when you're talking about bonds and currencies and stuff like that, Jim. But I did notice that you were articulate and logical and well-spoken. And that's high praise from my dad.
Right on. Yeah.
He was a literature professor and lecturer. And, we used to talk and just chuckle. I said, Dad, this is all technical writing. But I know you're a really good writer and you've got 20 books. But I'm a pretty decent writer too, but it's all technical. And he said, yeah, Jim, I see you're good at sentence formation, but I don't understand some of the things you talk about. I said, that's okay. It's okay. Anyway, that's my dad. I honor my father. I love my mother. My mother never really gave me a bad time. My dad gave me a bad time. He thought the death threats were self-aggrandizement. And that really bothered the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Really. I had my knees shaking in Munich, Germany, when a U.S. Homeland Security translator agent threatened to have me killed. And my knees were shaking, and I had 3 German clients at my side. They were there the entire 90 minutes, a 90-minute conversation with a guy threatening my life. I turned it around and interviewed him. I asked him a lot of different questions. Here's just one little thing. He said, I said, what languages do you speak? He said, well, German, obviously, but English, Russian, and French. I said, oh, do you do work in Beirut? And he goes, how did you figure that out? Yeah, I was there 2 weeks ago. I said, French, Beirut, Arabs, that's a connection. And I said, I even know why the Israelis bombed the shit out of Beirut. They didn't want Beirut to become a banking capital for OPEC oil. Whoa, he said. Yeah, okay, all right, very good.
Well, and we're back there now, aren't we, with Israel and Lebanon?
That brings up a really touchy topic. Do we really want Trump to move the war front from Ukraine to Iran and Lebanon?
I don't know that it's up to him to move it. I mean, he was talking about ending the Ukraine war, which obviously needs to happen. I don't know.
No, I'm agreeing. Do we need to move the war to Iran and Lebanon?
Well, I would rather be out of it completely.
Are we having any evidence? Trump said last week, anyone who speaks pro-Hamas should be deported. Now, I don't speak pro-Hamas, but I don't like genocide.
No.
Are we really looking to have Trump create a new war front with Iran? Is that what we want? Is that why we want to vote in Trump? Okay, Trump claimed to be a peacetime president for his entire 4 years. Is he going to throw that out the window on day one?
Well, I don't know. First, we got to let's see if he even gets in. I mean, we don't even know.
Oh, I think he's already won. I don't buy that concern one iota.
Okay.
He's ahead by 50%. They can cheat 15, 18, 20%. He's ahead by 50. He's ahead 58-31 among the Teamsters.
Yeah, oh, for
He's got a
sure.
27% lead among the
Yeah,
Teamsters.
yeah, I was just reading about that.
He got an 80-20% victory in the Elon Musk Twitter X poll. Now, that's not a random sample. I understand that.
Yeah.
But here's a weird fact of life with respect to sampling. The bigger your sample, the smaller your biases are.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had something like 5.5 million people voting. Now,
That's a lot.
what what are your fabricated bullshit Gallup, New York Times, and CNN and New York? No, what do you call it? CBS, ABC polls that they fabricate out of whole cloth.
I don't
What
know
are
if
those?
they
They're
did they
1,000.
poll anybody at all? I don't know.
I don't think they did. I think they saved a lot of
I
money.
think they just
Yeah,
say stuff.
here's a
Did you
rule of
see?
thumb. Here's a rule of thumb. When they say the accuracy of the poll is plus or minus 3%,
Uh-huh.
it
Oh,
means 1,000 people. 1,000
right.
people in the
Okay.
poll. It's
Okay.
1,000 in
Okay.
the poll.
Right.
It's exactly 1,000 people in the poll.
I've heard you say that. That's right.
And
But
when you
that's
look
not
at
very
two different,
many people.
it's not. Well, Elon had 5.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you're not going to be participating too much in Elon's following unless you like him or you like his love of truth. Why would anybody follow Elon and have a vote for Harris? Okay, that brings me up to a very
But
interesting
they might
perspective.
participate in a poll all the same.
They
I don't
might,
know. I don't
they
know how
might get,
that.
but I don't know how you get into the poll. But
I
let me
don't either.
mention what I believe to be the Kamala Harris principal voting segments: dead people,
Yeah.
photocopy
Yeah.
machines, illegal migrants, and single women who are closet Marxists and total morons.
What do you think? Oh, did you see New Yorker ran an article, and I don't know when this was. Should we scrap the Constitution? Did you see that?
No, but I'm not surprised. Was it Post or Times? Is
The
it
the New
Post?
Yorker, New Yorker
Oh, the New
magazine.
Yorker. New
Yeah,
Yorker. Oh, well, screw them.
I know it.
Um, let's have all the northeastern migrants descend on New York City metropolitan area and have it sink into the ground.
Yeah, kind of is. Makes me
I
sad.
tell you, I'm so tired of New York. I have a
Yeah.
lot of experience with New Yorkers. Now, I was in Boston for 20 years in my career at Digital Equipment Corp, two different positions, and then Staples, a nice long position. And I had about 50 encounters with New Yorkers. Okay, you can't avoid New Yorkers. They're all over the place. And they're in career posts. They're all over the place.
Sure.
I had 50 encounters and I only got along with two of them.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's 4%.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very good.
No.
I got along with almost everybody I worked with. Almost everybody. Anyway, New Yorkers are a different breed. I had
It's
a
a different breed. And
colleague.
it's changing though. What's happening at New York's been changed so radically because it's been so invaded, and I don't know what's to become of New York. It's not what it was.
I had a client just about 3 weeks ago. I did not put this in the newsletter. He wrote to me and said, Jim, I just spent 2 weeks in New York City. I was in Manhattan, and my friend was in Queens, no, maybe Brooklyn, can't remember, any one of the boroughs. And we went into Manhattan. We went to restaurants. We went to museums. We did a lot of different things. And I couldn't wait to get out. I said, what was it? He said, vibrations.
Mm.
I can't
Yeah.
put a real logical explanation on it, but I can tell you this. In Manhattan, not 1 in 4 faces was white.
Yeah.
Not 1 in 4 in Manhattan was white.
Same thing happening in London. There's no
And
Londoners left.
I said, what was the majority? What was the largest segment that you saw in Manhattan? He said, Chinese.
Hmm.
I said, shopkeepers? He said, no, they're all over the place. I mean, tourists, people walking along. He said, the most dangerous place. I said, I don't want to go there again. The
Yeah.
subways in New York City.
No way.
Okay.
No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we've got a big repair job. And anyone who thinks that Trump can turn this around in 4 to 6 months, you're extremely naive.
Yeah. There's
It's
so
going
much.
to
It's so.
it's, it's going to be 4 years to turn it around, and then I think it'll only be in a rudimentary form.
What
How
do you?
long will it be to get even Tesla technology up and running with businesses? How long?
Yeah.
Two years?
I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be quick.
No, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it shouldn't be that hard and it's been ready to go for many decades, but I don't know. It depends what's the resistance. What do you think, Jim, will happen? Any thoughts about the upcoming BRICS meeting later this month?
I'm glad you
Anything you
brought
want
that
to
up because
speak to that?
we have had too much time on the election rubbish. Um, I'm calling it the BRICS Bretton Woods meeting.
Uh,
And that's not an original coin phrase from me. I read that from a client and I wrote back and said, that's a really good description. The new BRICS Bretton Woods agreement. Okay, they're going to create a gold standard,
yeah,
and it's not going to be a single element. It's going to be um, it's going to be the bridge. It's going to be the unit. It's going to be
yeah.
the digital yuan. It can be the digital ruble, gold backed, and it's going to be maybe XRP. India, watch India and UAE. I keep saying this over and over again. India has a currency that nobody wants. Therefore, India, which is a very big population of 1.3 billion, they're about to surpass China. They got the largest middle class in the globe. They are not communist. They are capitalist. They have gigantic solar farms, big buyers of silver. Nobody wants the Indian rupee, so they're going to be using the unit, which requires each side beyond the 40% gold, 30%. What currency do you want? India is going to choose XRP a lot.
You think?
Watch India push XRP,
Hmm.
and maybe by the end of the year we're going to get past $1 on the value of XRP. It's very controversial, very vague.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hearing a lot of weird stuff regarding XRP and with respect to cryptos, like there might be a lot of crypto damage in the next several months, including Bitcoin, but not to XRP.
Hmm.
Like last man standing will be XRP, and it's going to zoom. Okay, I don't know. I think it could be true, but I don't think these doomsday arguments are going to work. We have Russia as the host for BRICS for the next 12 months.
Right.
And they had a St. Petersburg BRICS in June. Now they're going to have one in Kazan, which is in southern, I keep reading it, the southern Volga region of Russia. They're going to be doing some dog and pony launches of gold-backed dollar alternatives for trade payment. It's not going to be theoretical anymore.
Yeah.
It's not going to be beta tests. It's going to be actual usage.
When do you think that will start?
Oh, I think they're going to announce that it has started.
Uh-huh. And they'll announce it after the meeting and later this month?
No, they'll announce it at the meeting. They're going to do a dog and pony at the meeting.
I see.
What is happening, what they are doing. And I think it's going to be breakthrough and revolutionary. And it's going to show the world that the dollar has alternatives in working form. Okay, we're talking about mBridge protocol, and XRP is going to satisfy that. But they've also got something they're calling bridge. And this was new to me from just a few weeks ago. Bridge is going to be a device, and I believe it's going to have a gold roll, a roll with gold. And bridge is going to be used among BRICS nations. They want a palette, a menu of alternatives to the dollar.
Yeah.
And the Russian Kazan meeting, I think it's the 22nd of yeah, 17 days, 21 would be a Friday. I think it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday this October, the 21st, 2nd, and 3rd. Expect a lot of noise, a lot of successes, a lot of ballyhoo, and not a lot of thin substance. It's going to be real.
Yeah, good.
It's going to be big, it's going to be real, and it's going to be rather powerful in how it does damage to the dollar.
Well, it's inevitable. It has to happen. Has to happen.
Yeah.
And then at the
the dollar era is gone.
yeah.
We are now in a grand phase down.
Yeah.
You can't phase out quickly. This is way too big. It's 50 years.
Yeah.
The phase down is going to be gradual. The phase down is going to involve, I think, Bank of America announcing a failure event, and they're going to do their best to honor their depositors. It's going to be a very big point. It's going to be interesting. We're going to see a lot of impressive digital finance framework coming out of the East. I mean, like digital ledger technology. I mean, like the Russians showing that they've got a digital ruble that works. I mean, like payment systems that compete with SWIFT with respect to China and Russia and their trading partners.
Yeah.
UAE and sophisticated methods, UAE, United Arab Emirates. It's going to be exciting. And you're going to see downward trend, not going to be crashes, downward trend in dollar usage for trade payment. This is really going to be interesting and exciting. And I don't have a timetable.
Right.
I don't know how quickly it's going to integrate, but I do know this. You don't get rid of say, the remaining 4 out of 6 trillion in foreign held treasury bonds. You don't get rid of it quickly. They might have gotten rid of 2 trillion in the last year quietly. I heard that it was 6 trillion in foreign owned treasury bonds. And I heard they got rid of 2 trillion. I can't confirm that easily because the US government will not give out that kind of damaging information. They will not tell you how the rest of the world is abandoning the treasury bond.
Yeah.
But BRICS is going to show you that it's going to be easy to find an alternative. And if you're wondering, where did the Strategic Petroleum Reserve go? It might have gone to foreign suppliers for credits so that the United States could continue making imports. Ooh, a lot of accusations are saying, are delineating that the strategic, that doesn't roll off the tongue easily, the SPR, the oil reserve, there are a lot of people are saying, well, we sold it to China.
Yeah,
well, we sold some to China.
Yeah.
We had 20 ships in port about 10 months ago, 20 super tankers in port loading up with oil. Where did they go?
Where did they go?
We didn't track it. If we had, I think it would be the foreign suppliers for United States imports. They don't want the treasury bill no more. There's your double negative for emphasis. They don't want the treasury bill no more.
And meanwhile,
we've got something.
Okay, go ahead. You're going to say something controversial?
The pandemic. The fake
God.
pandemic in early 2020 was a response to U.S. Treasury bond, Treasury bill rejection.
I think that was part of it. Yeah.
That was phase 1 of the debt default. Phase 2 with the outbreak of the Ukraine war. That was December of 21 and early 22. So that's phase 2 of the debt default. Phase 3 is this year. Just mayhem, draining the SPR, oil reserve.
Yeah.
This is not simple. And in case you were wondering, it's Wednesday, October the 2nd. all day today. It's the October 2. I'm very excited about what's coming because I think we're going to have massive, massive price moves in gold and silver. And if you look at gold in the last several months and you're wondering, well, how did that happen? Weren't we just 2,200 several months ago? Now we're 2,600 and stable. And nobody's saying that this rally is over with. I'm saying we're going into 2025 all through the year and into 26 with the gold rally. We did not have a big $100 jump in any one week. We're going to have big jumps in the silver price, and they're coming. So take advantage of these bargain prices in silver.
Really?
Because you're not going to see them for much longer.
Yeah. If you can get in, now's the time. And Jim, I think that people can buy silver through you. I'm not sure if you're doing that right now.
Yeah, I am. I'm an affiliate for Miles Franklin.
Miles Franklin. Yeah. Okay.
And that's largely for coin purchases and even, good volume of coin purchases, like boxes of them. They call them a monster box. And I thought it was 1,000 coin, but it's actually 500. So a monster box of silver is like half of the price is 16. So maybe 17,000 for a monster box of 500 silver coins. I recommend people buy, in the United States, I recommend you buy American and Canadian coins. The Britannias are very good, but I'm also an affiliate, not just with Miles Franklin, but with Gold Core.
Oh yeah, of course. Right.
Gold Core is a vaulting service, secure vaulting service. And they're competitively priced. And, for instance, you got this $12 million account. Not too many people can say that, but some people do. And I've had consult sessions with 3 or 4 of them. And they said, Jim, I bought $1.5 million in silver, and it's being vaulted by Gold Core. And I said, yeah, I think you were part of the commission that I got a month ago. It's a decent commission. It's a standard commission, and I would be very careful about the they're called IRA gold conversion. They advertise a lot, and they give a very heavy commission. But I'm hearing a lot of nasty stories about their actions. Be careful if you got a big Wall Street bank account. Just be careful. Yeah. I don't think you're going to lose your money. I don't think you're going to be bailed in. I think what's going to happen is you're going to be informed that your bank is in trouble, and that means they're in failure, but they're not going to shut down.
So what happens?
And they're going to ration the withdrawals.
Okay, and what happens to the stock market in all of this?
I think they're going to sabotage the stock market after Trump wins. And that means you got a couple months.
Yeah.
They never. Okay, let's just get real here. You think they're going to collapse the stock market before November 5? You think there's going to be a 30% decline in the S&P and Dow?
Right. No.
You think interest rates are going to jump up by 3% before the election?
No.
No. They're going to hold it together with baling wire, chewing gum, Band-Aids, and Scotch tape.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Now, if Trump wins and he announces who he's going to target for arrests and hangings, you think their friends are going to sabotage the stock market and short it and make money like they did on Black Monday, like they did for Lehman in 2008? You know where Lehman, the S&P, S&P index stopped falling? At 666.
Oh, God. Oh.
All right.
Of course.
Now, it's way up. And, for those who are licking their chops saying, I've made a lot of money by ignoring your calls to go into gold. I've made fourfold in my S&P in the last 15 years. I say, congratulations. I hope you can hang on to it. I heard a really I heard a really interesting argument about 2 years ago that Trump is going to keep the stock market elevated so that the capital can migrate into successful new industries, not from a low level, from a high level. Transfer out of these elevated, nosebleed, silly valuations. Okay, we're in an inflationary depression.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
for those who think that I'm crazy for saying that, I say you're ignorant for not recognizing it. We got a 5, 6, 7% lie on the price inflation, which means we got a 5, 6, 7% lie on economic growth. If they say we're struggling to have 1% growth, then really we got a -4 or 5% recession. If we got high inflation and a deep recession, that's called inflationary depression. They lie about everything. I spent the first 2 years focusing on lies for economic statistics. Consumer price index, jobless index, and the GDP, economic growth. They're all related.
Yep.
If you want an accurate view of what the unemployment is, look at the participation rate and subtract 1 from it. And you get about 28%.
Yeah, it's high.
If the unparticipation rate is 28%, what the hell are you talking about that the jobless rate is 4?
They just skew everything. It's completely skewed.
No, it's skewed because they define it improperly. They're looking for the state unemployment insurance recipient rate. Well, if you run out of your unemployment benefits,
yeah,
you're not considered unemployed.
Right. I know. It's
so I look at the participation rate
right.
and I subtract 1 and I get 28% for unparticipation in the labor market. What do you call that? Jobless.
Yeah.
And what they say is no, there are a lot of people who permanently exit the labor market out of choice. I say, yeah, out of choice, because they tried for 2 years to get a job and they couldn't. Well, now they've turned to dealing drugs and robbing homes.
Well, if we could bring manufacturing back home and downsize the government, all those people in the government jobs can go into actual production.
I know, and that's going to be the challenge, and that's going to be a very difficult challenge because we need to deport 15 million trash.
Yeah.
And they have dumped over 400,000 Haitians. I heard that they dumped 5% of the 8 million Haitians in the United States. That's 400,000. They dumped them. They're not just in Springfield, Ohio. They're all over the place.
They're everywhere. Sure.
They're north of Pittsburgh. They're in southern Alabama, and they voiced complaints, and the city official said, you're not allowed to complain.
Yep, I heard that.
Okay, well, you're not allowed to complain.
Yeah.
This is an economic point, Carrie, and I got to go after this. I got something at the top of the hour. There is a phenomenon. When the Haitians come in, they're given protected status.
Yep.
And there are job openings advertised only for the protected status.
Yeah.
And the regular citizens are not informed about the jobs. So the jobs go to the Haitians and the other protected status. In addition, the Haitians have these big fat debit cards.
Yeah.
And there's a lady in Springfield, Ohio, and she's got a lot of courage because she might get shot by the Biden guys, the hitmen. She said, I know people at a hardware store and other department stores, like Lowe's or Home Depot or and they walk out with $3,000 of merchandise on their debit cards.
Yeah.
And they're Haitians and they don't speak English. Well, they don't speak French either. Do you know what they speak?
Well, they speak that Haitian Creole version of French. Yeah.
The best example that I've ever heard is that Yiddish is to German what Creole is to French. Adaptations and local color.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say regarding the Haitians and all of this is enough reason for what you were saying about your military friend in Florida saying that people are giving up because the signs are not there, the signs of success are not there, and this in particular is really, really one of the most disturbing upsetting things going on. It's at the top of people's list of concerns, and there's no
Uh,
sign of any solution or any
or
action.
great progress. There's no sign of even an initiative
Yeah.
by the Biden. You notice how it's
Well,
called the
certainly not
Biden-Harris
by
show?
the
The Biden-Harris.
Biden-Harris show. They're doing it. They're the ones
I
doing
know,
it. But
but before it was the Biden show, now it's the Biden-Harris show.
uh-huh.
Before they're calling it the Biden administration or the Biden whatever. I call
Yeah.
it the show.
Yeah.
Now it's the Biden-Harris.
Harris, yeah.
Biden-Harris show. Biden-Harris administration. They're trying to put
They're trying to put her in there.
they're put something around her neck for the problems that we have in the country so that she cannot say, I had no responsibility. You're the vice president. You had no say.
So who do you think
She's trying to put it on Trump, and it's absolutely absurd.
who do you think's running her?
Soros, Alex.
Hmm.
Waltz just had a meeting in Manhattan with Alex Soros.
Mm.
You know, I wonder if Soros realizes that Harris, Kamala Harris, and Waltz are being operated by the White Alliance.
Well, that's what
really
what I wanted to get to.
deep question. I got to go.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I got something to do before the top of the hour. I got 9 minutes.
okay, so that was the point that I wanted to get to, is if you thought that they were being operated by the White Alliance.
I think so, yes. And I think at the same time, it's not clear the methods. It's not clear the agent. It's not clear much of anything.
Yeah, the purpose.
I look at the actions. Waltz is the worst pick I could have ever imagined. Maxine Harris would have been worse. I'm sorry, Maxine Waters.
Mm.
Maxine Waters, the crazy older black lady in California. She's calling for violence now. Let's bring out violence. Let's show these people we're angry. Okay, they're fomenting violence without inciting riots by definition. This is very, very slick.
Yeah, and meanwhile the
slippery.
J6ers are in jail
I think
for
they're
walking
almost.
across the lawn.
Aren't they all released?
I don't think so.
I thought that they won their case and they were released.
Okay, I have to look into that. I saw that that was possible, but I didn't know that had happened.
I thought they won their case. They won their case. So
Okay, I'm gonna
now
look into
now they're
that.
talking about lawsuits for wrongful arrest and torture in prison. You don't do that if you're still in prison. So I think that they're out, but I could be wrong. I got to go.
Okay,
This is Wednesday, October 2, and you can't steal this and change it, you sons of bitches. golden-jackass.com. Sign up for the newsletter, support my work, make a donation. If you're wealthy, make a big donation with the sponsor button. I'm getting the shit kicked out of me. I really resent some of the comments that I get from emails that demonic attacks are my imagination. I'm a statistician, so I put together a hypothesis that these are random events. And after about 15 or 18 Three Sigma events, I'm pretty sure that they're not random events. I was pretty sure after 5 or 6 different Three Sigma events that I did something and then something happened. I did something and then something happened. And I've noticed something else, Carrie, that's very weird. One really important factor that I'm noticing is when I'm done cleaning up a heavy cost from an ugly event, there's another event very quickly that's ugly and painful and costly. They're sequential. They don't seem to be happening at the same time. I finished one, there's another. We just finished with an extortion, and now we've got a new problem. I don't wish to give the details because it's medical. But there was a time 2 years ago when a portion of a roof caved in. As soon as we had it fixed, another portion of the roof caved in. As soon as we fixed that, another portion of the roof caved in on the other end of the building. As soon as we fixed that, another portion. And we ended up selling the property at a big discount because we figured that it was demonically possessed. These are very unusual events. I don't know anybody who's had 6 fires in a 4-year period. I don't know anybody in my entire life. Okay, I've had 7 dead people, and 2 are in my own colleague group, and 2 of them were closely associated with London Paul. And if you think I'm making an accusation indirectly at London Paul, that's exactly what I am doing. 2 of my colleagues are dead. I'm sure one was murdered. I suspect the other one was murdered. And they were each closely associated with London Paul, who's a very much pro-Hillary animal. Oh, didn't know that until I knew him for a couple of years. What a piece of shit. Okay, it's Golden-Jackass. Sign up for the newsletter. I'm available for consult calls. Got consult calls. I got one on the next couple of days.
You can book a consult with Jim. You can make a donation. You can sign up for the newsletter. You can do all 3, but definitely check out the website, golden-jackass.com. The newsletter I really do highly recommend.
You and I have done some consult calls. That's how we met each other.
We sure have.
And you've been, I think, an incorrigible flirt during this entire friendship.
I think I'm going to edit that right out. Like you haven't been? Oh my God, I can't.
Okay, well, thanks.
Holy kettle black. Oh my, I can't. I'm blown away.
All right, well, thanks for having me on.
All right.
Well, bye now. Bye, sweet pea.
Bye-bye.
I really got to go. I got to do something right now. I got to go.
Okay, go do it. Go do it.